This week on the ADG podcast, we have brand new music, a brand new top five, and the return of unpopular opinion. All that and more on the ADG podcast.
The only thing that's different is Martin Lawrence's face is fatter. Hold up, Mike. I gotta catch my breath, Mike.
So I do like chicken sandwiches. Well, who else would you have on the cover of Playboy these days, right?
See if you can polish this term. I'm trying to be positive here, Jake.
Jake is also available for anniversaries and birthday parties.
I thought you were gonna tell me treat him like cats and sprayed him with a water bottle.
No.
Not enough money behind this podcast to get him on here. Because it's not the kids' fault they're shitheads. It's not. It's the parents' fault. The parents are shitheads too. Why are you talking shit? Have you won anything? No, then shut the fuck up. Wait, nobody ever said there was a plot to Rambo. Delete your account, go back to bed, cry for a couple of days, and reflect on what you're actually going to do with your life. All right, welcome everybody to the ADG podcast. Darren's here. I'm Jacob. And we have an awesome show for everybody today because, yes, we're going to start off with sports first, but we have a special guest joining us for a few segments today, the host of Empire Universe podcast, Luke Kelly. How are you, my friend?
I am terrific, man. Beautiful morning, so that's always good.
How are things in beautiful Chatham these days?
How are things in Chatham? Well, I would say, Chatham is Chatham. It's always had that kind of reputation of being kind of a, small town. But, coronavirus is pretty much gone here, so that's always a positive.
Oh, nice. Yes, I unlike here and the rest of the province, they all moved on to phase 2 while we're stuck in phase 1. So enjoy those manicures and haircuts.
I know, right? Damn it.
Exactly right. Oh, yes. But Jake, let's get into it. And sports. And we're going to start with actually some baseball. Yes, I said baseball. I know. Right. It's one of Jake's favorite sports to talk about. And it looks like the Tigers have added some torque to their lineup as they took it with their first overall pick in the 2020 entry draft, Spencer Torkelson, third baseman out of Arizona State. And it was kind of a no-brainer when it comes to this first pick overall. He can mash the ball all over the yard. Just reading up on some of his stats and watching some of his highlights, this kid has everything that the Tigers need, especially when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. So Jake, I'm sure you followed Spencer Torkelson all the way during his high school and college career.
I did. His entire second career.
Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on. Do you think that this was a safe? That was the right and only pick for the Tigers to do?
Well, surprisingly, it wasn't a pitcher that they picked, so it was great. No, actually, this team needs bat. This kid seems the prospect, so no, that's a good thing. From everything I'm hearing from the experts, this kid is what this team needs, and but yeah, it's the Tigers, so I'm sure they'll screw it up. So have a few years rebuild. These are not the Lions, so it's a good thing. These are the Tigers. They have the opportunity to build.
I was waiting to see how long it would take for you to turn this topic into a jab at the Lions. So if you had 3 seconds, you won. So Luke, from Jake was telling me you follow sports pretty good. What do you think of this pick? Do you think the Tigers have a bat of the future in their lineup?
I think it's I don't know. I mean, I was about to say Lions because everyone's gonna rip on them. But no, Tigers. I think this is someone that they definitely need. And I mean, not just him, but more. It's definitely a start. I think for us, having teams like Toronto and Detroit close to home, it's definitely need to kind of make them a better team again, for sure. Definitely Toronto. But, if we can have a team that can, win the World Series again, I mean, that'd be a start for sure.
Well, not only that, but just to be a contender again.
Yeah.
You know, going into this draft, the Tigers had the 5th best farm system in the entire Major League Baseball, and now you add like the best bat in the draft to that. It just increases their stockpile of young talent when it comes to you know, moving forward. So this team in the next 2 to 3 years, I think they're in perfect position. When we talk about pitching, they have tons of great pitching, especially with Casey Mize and Matt Manning and Faedo and all these players coming up through the ranks. The Tigers have it's been a while ever since, you know, the heydays of Verlander and Scherzer and Cabrera when he was in his
all those guys already won a World Series.
Oh
yeah, exactly. All those guys actually got a ring, but with different teams.
But don't you guys think that we actually need some hope around here? The way sports is going, that either Toronto or Detroit actually need some type of hope.
Yeah.
Anything?
I don't know. I mean,
the Raptors, obviously, but
I think the thing is about the whole thing about is that, I mean, they need to start, like you said, being a contender. So at least my dad can, you know, he won't be embarrassed wearing his jersey around, you know. So
that's true.
I was gonna say, for you growing up in Chatham, like, were you tend to be more of a Tigers fan or a Blue Jays fan? Like, how does that work over there?
Well, the thing is, I've never been big on baseball, and I'm being totally honest with you. But when it comes to baseball, yeah, I was more of a Tigers fan, just because Windsor is about 40 minutes away from Chatham, and then you take the tunnel bus or you do whatever you got to do to go to the games. But yeah, no, I've always liked the atmosphere in Detroit, and I mean, we're talking about the baseball field, not the not the city. But yeah, no, I love the atmosphere in Detroit, and it's just, I just feel like it feels like home, I guess, in terms of the team. My dad's always liked it. My sister's always gone to the games, so I think it's kind of it's a bit of a family tradition to go to the games, I guess. Even if I'm not a big baseball guy, it's still nice to kind of see the new guys that are coming up and
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Well, so let's break it down by sport there, Luke. Let's what teams do you follow in each sport? Just so we know when we can
we'll see if Luke makes a return after he answers these questions.
Well, huge Maple Leafs fan for
All
sure.
Right, I like him already. Let's keep him on.
Man. Definitely not a Red Wings fan, but
he's getting even better. Look at this.
So definitely not a Red Wings fan, and yeah, definitely a Toronto fan. And when it comes to football, I gotta go with New England. I'm sorry, but at least I'm not turning the line. So,
but let's face it, like half of the New England Patriots are on the Detroit Lions, so it's pretty much
pretty much
the same thing. It's pretty much the Detroit Patriots. Let's just call them.
Yeah, except they don't win.
Except they don't.
Exactly.
They're all.
Don't get us wrong. This is our favorite team. We just destroy it every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, always hope.
Yeah. And for basketball, do you follow basketball at all?
Not like I'm not like a hardcore fan by any means, but so where I work for community living. So like I work in a home, so there's always like basketball on TV, and it happens to be the Raptors. So I don't know if I've so much got on the whole bandwagon of them being like champs the other year, but definitely like just them being from Toronto, and now that they're actually kicking ass, yeah, I tend to be a Raptors fan. I honestly, that one guy that they lost last season, he signed somewhere else.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard. Like, I really liked him, but unfortunately, he got his championship, and I think when he won the championship with the Raptors, it was time to move on, and I think money talks.
Oh yeah, especially in the NBA, absolutely.
Yep.
No, that's good. Well, speaking of the NBA, Jake, I know you're a big fan.
Here we go.
What? So basically, they've started. The NBA is now targeted July 30th for their return to action, according to the ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. So they will resume their 2019-2020 season at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex in Orlando.
I'm excited.
I know you're excited. So there's only going to be 22 teams involved in this restart of the league season. The 16 teams that occupied playoff spots are all in, plus 6 teams that were within 6 games of a postseason berth. So they'll start right there. So
does that include the Pistons?
Except for the Pistons.
Because I haven't.
Well, it's good. They get an early start at figuring out what they're gonna do with that shamble of a roster. Will Blake Griffin continue to be on the team, or is he just gonna be a guy that dresses in it? Is he gonna be a guy that just dresses in a suit on the bench? For the rest of his career. I don't know.
Exactly. Rest the old man and let him have a full season next year when he's all healed up and ready to go.
Hopefully
the roster's newer.
Hopefully he puts up good numbers where you can trade him for something.
Right? And that's
the age gonna be hard.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue is when you're trying to trade someone, try to get them off your team, but they have to produce. If
they have to produce,
they
have to look good themselves to make them attractive to other teams. Exactly. So Jake, will you be watching this NBA season part 2 when it resumes? And what do you think of all these teams playing in one location and pretty much being in this bubble for like 3.5 months?
No, it's pretty cool because I'll watch any sports right now. I will literally watch NASCAR. So
goodness, Jake,
you would
be so proud of me. I have been watching so much Bundesliga soccer. It's like ridiculous.
Good.
Even
so you see the best player in the league. That's good. You see my buddy Robert Lewandowski score a whole bunch of goals and be number one.
I was actually
so you're welcome.
Canadian. The Canadian.
Okay. I talk about winning teams here. Oh my God, we're talking soccer on the ADG podcast. What is wrong with this thing?
What is wrong with
you? Man, this is great. We're so off track on this whole sports thing right now. This is how bad it is.
No.
But watch some Bundesliga, figure it out, see a whole bunch of good players.
It's soccer, right? It's just in a different language. It's the same sport, just
a little aggressive, a little more aggressive.
A little more aggressive.
Unless if you want to practically not get hit and fall on the ground and act like a little pussy. I mean,
we practice that though. We do practice that in soccer for sure. Speaking of which, I've been waiting about 3 months for my full-size soccer net to come in from Amazon. So fuck you, Amazon. But it's okay. It's been in Mississauga for the past month and a half. So it's okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Good shipping. Yeah. No, I don't want any training or anything. It's okay.
Going on there.
Does Amazon know that you are preparing your kids to be like future MLS All-Stars here?
They don't take this seriously like I do. Amazon does not take this as seriously like I do.
Obviously,
and I'm not even angry yet. We haven't even gotten to the angry part of the show, and it's just I'm already annoyed.
This is a warm-up phase for Jake. Yeah.
But that's wow. We were totally off track on sports, but we're talking soccer. But it's we'll keep watching Bundesliga. I have nothing else to watch. Watch NASCAR, and then I'm waiting for this basketball thing to start because the original question was, I'll be watching the basketball, and I should have some time because there's nothing really else on TV.
No, exactly.
That's what it is.
Well, from basketball, let's travel over to hockey, which is always Jake's favorite sport to talk about.
This is why we have Luke today to entertain our audience because
Luke can do Jake's heavy lifting for him when we talk about hockey.
We're thinking for your support today.
There you go. Where the NHL and the NHLPA has agreed to begin training camps on July 10th at different locations across North America for teams preparing for the 16-team tournament style, which is going to be the first of its kind. I think it's going to be the most exciting playoff ever in the history of the game, because not only do you have an extra round, a qualifying round,
plus you have the top 4 teams on each in each conference competing for the number 1 seed. It's going to be interesting to see where it all falls into place. When people talk about, whoever wins this year's Stanley Cup should get an asterisk. I disagree completely, because one, you're going up against teams that are fully healthy and fully rested, so everyone has their players at 100% more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you have to win. Let's say if you are Montreal, Toronto, and Edmonton, you have to win an extra round just to get into the playoffs, and then you have to start the grueling matchup that is a playoff, a 7-game series each round, all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
If anything, that is a lot tougher than a normal, season. Obviously you go through the bumps and bruises, the injuries that, and if you're lucky to get to the playoff reasonably healthy, you have a good shot. But you eliminate that, and you let everyone in the league heal up, and who are in a qualified position to make the playoffs. You're going to see some of the best hockey after a couple games, because obviously there's going to be a rust. They're going to take they'll take a couple games to knock the rust off and get into the rhythm of playoff style hockey. But once that gets in, once that gets done, you're going to see some of the best hockey that's ever been played.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that it's going to be interesting, and not just with everyone being fresh. I mean, part of that, I think, with the Leafs, because I know, obviously, I'm a little biased here. I won't lie.
We like bias.
But I mean, like with Toronto, if you look at their whole season, and I'm not trying to make excuse because they're my favorite team, but I kind of am, because if you look at right from the beginning, they had guys injured right from the get-go. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, Toronto's this, Toronto's that. But I mean, I think people need to realize how hard it is to really build chemistry on a team when, I mean, we're not just talking about like a fourth liner who's been missing for half the season. We're talking about like Mitch Marner that was out for a little bit, Janssen that was out for a little bit. Like I think John Tavares was out for a little bit with his hand. Like it just goes on, and it was always somebody that was injured almost every freaking game. Right. And I mean, how do you and they were switching the lines around. So it's like, is it that they really had kind of a crappier season, or is it just they just can't build that chemistry and they can't get a flow going? I think personally that was part of it, and two, they do need to address that defense, and that's where I'm kind of worried about playoff hockey. Is that, I mean, they had a good series against the Bruins last season, or like last playoffs, but it's the same thing. It seems like Game 7, they don't have that grit on the team to punch through. And
no. I totally understand what you're getting. What you're getting from this team. They have to know what it's like to have that extra gear when it's needed in that game, in those Game 7s against Boston on the road, blah blah blah. Just like we see in other sports. I like to jump back to basketball for a second after watching The Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan, and see what it took for them to get over the hump of beating the Pistons. It was that mentality where they have to learn how to lose before they could win. What it takes to be successful and beat the teams in that are somewhat better than them in crucial spots. You really have to that dig down deep in that mental toughness that you really need to overcome all these obstacles in like high pressure scenarios like a Game 7 on the road. But jumping back to the NHL, it's going to be like you said, that they weren't the strongest on defense. But now that you have this break where everyone can heal up, your Morgan Rileys, your Jake Muzzins, and all that, having those guys back in the lineup is nothing but a bonus. Plus, they're expanding the roster size to 28, I believe. And then that gives you a lot more opportunity to bring in some young guys that have a chance to really impress not only the coaches, but the other, not only the coaches, but their teammates in a high pressure, playoff series. Like I saw somewhere that they're considering bringing up Nick Robertson, who just won the CHL, playmaker of the year or whatever that award is
I think
called.
he had the highest scoring
Scoring title in the OHL. So have someone up here, see what he can do, and this is like the ultimate way to find out, can you handle the pressure of being in a playoff situation. Obviously, it's not going to be the same because there's no going to be crazy fans in the stands, so it's going to be a little awkward for this playoff format. But other than that, it's still hockey, right? You still have to compete. You still have to earn your spot. So it's going to be interesting for me to see like how these young guys, interact with the team. Do they bring, grit, toughness, more skill, more speed to this team that they have been desperately needing since '67? So it's going to be interesting to see. So I know I'm going to be watching. I know Jake, he'll watch it because it'll be
glued
the only
to the
sports
TV.
on. Yes. It'll be the only sports on besides maybe MLS soccer. I hear that they're doing a 24-team tournament in Orlando.
Perfect.
So there you go. But no, it's going to be good.
All right, there's that. There's hockey.
Sorry,
I zoned out there for a second because it was so entertaining. You guys are awesome. I'm not a hockey guy. All right,
you don't say.
Good stuff. I was captivated.
You
guys brought me to life. All right, well there you go. There's a sports wrap up right there. I think we covered everything. Anything in golf? No? Okay.
Golf is back.
Golf is back.
Golf is,
It's
Golf, it's more fun to play than to watch, to be honest.
I always had this thought about golf, okay? Mm-hmm. And tell me if I'm wrong. I don't believe golf is a sport, and I'll explain that.
That's a hot take. Oh, that's perfect. Let's do it. Okay, go.
Okay, hold on.
Garbage sports of the week.
Okay, so my take on golf is, okay, I could see how people see it as a sport, okay? I mean, technically, you're still active. You're walking to your 18 holes. I mean, you could walk around a pond, I guess. But I mean, like, okay, so people see it as a sport. I don't. And the reason why is because if you're in a sport where you can drink beer and you can smoke cigars and play golf at the same time, I don't really consider that a sport. And I mean, like, and besides that, I mean, what are you really doing? I mean, yeah, you have to have skill. I mean, to be a best golfer, you have to have the perfect swing, the best hand-eye coordination. But besides that, I mean, you could be out of shape and still play golf. And I don't really consider that you're an athlete, I guess. That's my take on it.
So
wow. We're going to get a lot of hate mail for this. I can't wait. This is great.
So you're really
I don't disagree, though. I really don't.
No, but,
I'm not wrong. Come on.
Well, you are wrong. So you're comparing like golf to like bowling, where you said that they're like overweight, smoking, drinking. Like there's recreational golf that me and people I know play, and then there's professional golf, which you see them train, you see them, put all the hours in to perfect their swing and their
right.
And so I just disagree that it's not a real sport. So like to you, what defines a real sport, I guess, is my question.
Well, before you answer that, hold on a second. Darren, did you just compare golf to bowling?
I'm just saying the way that
I don't consider bowling a real sport either.
I said no, bowling no. Bowling is a recreational activity.
Okay, I was just checking.
I'm just saying that like the way he was describing it is something that like bowlers where you could pretty much drink in one hand and bowl in the other is what I'm saying.
Okay, well I kind of okay, go ahead.
I think that would take some mastery of in that aspect. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I just like I understand the pros. Yeah, they have to practice, of course, but I just don't see it on the same level as other sports, obviously. Like in other sports, you have to be very active to maintain and to maintain your like yourself in the sport.
Physique?
I guess. Like, well, I'm sorry.
Maintain your physique. You know, your
Like maintain your
body.
physique. Yeah. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, I mean, the golfers. I'm sure that I mean, I'm not saying they're all overweight. I'm just saying, but like the idea I kind of get from golf, it's a very I just don't see as much of an active sport. But that's just me. I mean, that's I don't have any disrespect about any golfers.
Everyone's entitled to their opinions. I just to call them like like not athletes or not athletic. I just don't buy it. Like if we're talking about John Daly, a guy who's like a bigger guy, and he's got a beer gut and he drinks and smokes, but that's one golfer compared to like other people like Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson or Brooks Koepka. These guys are like jacked. They could be baseball players if they wanted to.
Hold on. Okay, let me get on the same side as Luke a little bit here, because I see where he's coming from. What he's saying is, and I understand where it's not the regiment is different, where you just go out, you swing, you do your thing. You're not as intense on one-on-one physical activity as say like a football player. That's a totally different state of mind. Football, soccer, even baseball. All the major sports, hockey. It's the regiment and their one-on-one. You have to be better than the guy next to you, or
it's the same thing in golf.
Or you're shit here. So it's more of a mental game. To me, personally,
it's mental. It's a mental game and physical game there as well, Jake. Because not only
I know, but you're competing against a score, not another person.
No, you're competing against not only everyone but the course itself, especially if it's a difficult course.
Right. Well, that's like running, like a kid's obstacle course. That's kind of the same thing. It's just like you're competing against the ground. Like it's not, it's again, it's golf. Golf is being played by old dudes with cigars on a Sunday. And Darren too.
On this topic, obviously, you guys don't feel the same way about golf, and you don't portray these people as athletes.
That's great. I love it. We're gonna get so much hate for this.
Well, I just think both.
No, I am, wrong. And Luke.
I just think both of you are wrong. That's all. It's just that to say that
it's all good. That's what we're here for.
I was gonna say like, it's an Olympic sport, and I'm sure you guys are gonna say, well, so is baton twirling or dancing with the ribbon. But
that's right. Ice dancing.
Ice dancing, yeah. But you guys would think, ice dancing athletes are more athletes than golfers. I'm like, what?
Shit, let's put in the frisbee golf in there too. Then there you go, athletes.
All right. Anyways, I just think both of you are wrong, and golf is a true sport. But
that's all right. Good. I love busting you, and it's great.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, you know what? I'll put a poll up on our Instagram and our Facebook page and Twitter. We'll see.
We'll revisit this.
Stand. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Wrap up with sports.
That's right.
There you go. That's a spirit. All right. So there's wrapped up sports right there. So again, Luke, tell us about your awesome podcasts and what you do, and about some of your cool guests that you have, because it's kind of sport related, especially the last few guests that you had. So talk to us about that.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start off from the beginning. So I guess the whole idea when I started my whole podcast, it started around 2018, around there. And I wasn't, I was serious about it. I had some people that I knew, and I thought, okay, like let's shoot the crap, and we'll talk about stuff, and it'll be fun. I was really inspired by the Joe Rogan Experience, and he's always been an idol of mine, and I was like, well, if he's doing this, I could do it too. And so at the beginning, like I said, it was very much like just low key. It wasn't really anything serious. And then, as it kind of went on, I started different people that I that I know from the gym, and people that have their own stuff going on. And I was like, okay, come on the podcast. And it started kind of getting serious at that point. But even at that, I wasn't staying consistent. Mind you, I work full time. I'm at the gym every day, 2-3 hours, and I just kind of had a busy life, and so that kind of slowed things down. That was part of it. And then, so as this quarantine kind of came in, I had a lot more free time. I wasn't working as much, mind you, because I had 2 other jobs, and on top of the job that I already have. So with those 2 gone, I had a lot more free time, and with doing all these podcasts on Skype or on Zoom, it gave me more opportunity to venture out and have different guests on. And as I kind of put my stuff on Instagram and put more social media effort into my podcast, I found that I was able to get more guests on. Now, that second part to my story here, you were asking about some of the guests I've had. So I've had different, various local athletes. I had a couple guys from the Chatham Maroons. They're like a junior B team. So it'd be the closest to Windsor would be LaSalle Vipers. And I had a couple of those guys on, and it was really nice having those guys on because I do their social media on Instagram, and I do all their pictures. So it was kind of nice to kind of have the backstory, what goes on the ice, and what happened in this game, what was going on. And so I've had a couple of those guys. I've had a couple people from the OHL. I had Brett Bracco. He's a local guy here. He was the best rookie goalie of this year, I think, for the London Knights, and I think he actually broke a record. That's cool. So that was pretty exciting to have him on. I've had a couple other various guests on there as well. I had Xavier Medina from Windsor Spitfires, so that was pretty sweet. And then I just had a local goalie. She actually plays for the women's under 18 Team Canada team, so that was pretty sweet. So it's not like I've been targeting athletes so much or targeting sports so much. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of where a lot of that's what a lot of stuff I like to talk about. I like to really get into, my overall focus on my podcast is mainly fitness, health and wellness. And so it kind of ties in with the whole sports aspect. And that's just kind of where I've been, targeting more. It's just the sports, those people, it's a lot easier to get them on the podcast. I possibly have 2 guys from the UFC on my podcast today or next week. Depending on with times, and it, also I still work, so and they have their lives too. So it that part of aspect, it can be difficult getting people on and then just getting people to commit and remembering, hey, we got this podcast today. Are you still down? So that's kind of what I do. And also when on top of the whole fitness, health and wellness, I like doing podcasts, getting into deep stuff, things about just life in general. And that's kind of why I do sports. I do health, fitness, wellness. And I do, and it's even with the people who I have on, even if they're athletes or they're, whether they're into sports or they're whatever they're into, I tend to like to discuss about life because it's nice to kind of get a perspective of someone who's an athlete, and I like to get their side of life and how do they live their life. And because as much as we pretty much just see what we see on TV, and we don't get a glimpse. I mean, if you look at hockey, for example, they do have interviews and they talk about their home life, but that you just get a bit of a glimpse of what they're like in real life. And so when you have them on, it really opens up my eyes, and it's further educating me on other people's lives, I guess, and getting a different perspective. And it's a learning curve for myself, and that's what I like. It's kind of for me, it's like reading a book. You learn more and more and more just through people's experiences in life, and I like to, and all those things that I experienced and I learned from the guests, I apply that to my life. So that's kind of my story on my podcast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's the Empire Universe podcast. You guys can find that anywhere. Check out the Instagram and your Spotify, YouTube, all the other social media. So that's good. No, that's awesome. That's we were going over your Instagram page and all your cool guests. Looks like you've been really, really busy getting everybody on the show. So it looks really cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. So that's where anywhere else our audience can find you besides Instagram. Do you have a Facebook page?
I do. So you can find me on Facebook. It's just called Empire Universe. And obviously all my podcasts are on YouTube. Same thing, Empire Universe. And then also I just got onto Spotify last week. So you can just find me in Empire Universe and then just put podcast on the side and you should be able to find me. So that's Sweet. Where you can find me.
Awesome. And if you guys want to find look in the Empire Universe podcast through us, we're everywhere, all your streaming platforms worldwide, all Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere else, the A2G podcast. So Luke, I appreciate you coming on the A2G podcast and having a fun conversation. We definitely got to do this again.
Awesome. Yes, I'd love to do that again. You guys can always come on my podcast. You guys can come on my podcast, whatever you guys want to do, cross-pollinate, whatever you want to do.
Definitely going to do that. We have to get into more of our faces because you do more of a live show. And we got to get into doing more of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, appreciate you coming to the show. And and I think we're going to put up a poll on this whole golf thing. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's already up.
See it.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll talk to you later, man. Thank you.
Yes, you too.
All right, Darren, let's talk about our movie trailer for the week because it's new, but it's a throwback. It's an
oldie but a goodie. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Because it's Bill and Ted's, what the hell is it called now?
Face the Music.
Face the Music. Wow, that's astonishing title there. But Bill and Ted's Face the Music.
You know what? The trailer came out, and obviously they get old. Both Keanu Reeves and Alex, I forget his last name. Bill, the guy that plays Bill. But like, you see the trailer, like, boy, Keanu Reeves really got. He's older, but
Alex Winter.
Alex Winter, thank you. Keanu Reeves aged gracefully, I must say, in these. And in light of, I know that they've been talking about a third one. So a couple weeks ago, I watched the first two Bill and Ted movies.
Good.
First one was good. I really liked it. The second one, it was okay. It was okay. But this one, obviously, from the trailer, looks like they're bringing back a couple of the main characters, except for the main character that was played by the late great George Carlin, who passed away. So I'm sure they're gonna have some sort of like memory of him or pay a special tribute to him.
Right.
But yeah, obviously, it looks good for those who grew up watching the Bill and Ted movies. Obviously, Keanu Reeves is one of the hottest actors right now with his success, especially being John Wick and the talks of another Matrix movie coming in. It's coming to theaters, soon, either probably next year. So yeah, he's why not have something like this come out now? Will it actually be in theaters? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I looking at the trailer and I'm excited because it's gonna be a really terrible movie, but it's gonna be fun.
Right.
Just like the other one. They're not great movies.
Fun.
They're fun to watch, and it's an experience.
It's an experience.
And that's It's fun. It's an experience, but they're not actually really good movies. But it'll be fun to watch because it'll just be entertaining. I'd give it 2.5 out of 5.
2.5 out of 5. I saw the trailer. I liked the trailer, and knowing that it's probably going to be more nostalgic than a brand new story, I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Bill
and Ted Face the Music, coming to a theater near your TV
this summer,
soon.
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, let's do top 5.
Top 5. And it's a top 5.
I know. So, top 5 things you're doing under lockdown during this quarantine. How?
Well, I'm sorry, you kind of dropped out. What is your top 5 about?
Top 5 is things you're doing under quarantine lockdown.
Didn't we do this one before, Jake?
No, we were under quarantine lockdown. We were just doing these things.
Okay.
So, number 5, we're pushing the limits of how much toilet paper we actually need. So we're overstating how much toilet paper we need. So in the quarantine, toilet paper seems to be the issue. That's number 5. Number 4, thinking about all the projects we should be doing, but we're not doing at home.
Right.
While we're home. Makes sense to me.
I know, Jake, you have been busy. Like, did you work on your deck or something? You redid your studio.
The studio's redone. Yep, that's good. And I'm working on the backyard, but I'm back to work, so it's all good.
Nice.
Number 3 is something we're doing now. We're video chatting with friends and family.
Or podcasting with friends.
It's in there somewhere.
All
right. Number 2, it's something I struggled with. Asking yourself, am I hungry or am I bored?
Sometimes it's both.
Sometimes it's both. And number 1, something we do a lot is spending hours on the internet on our tiny phones while sitting in front of our computers.
Do it all the time. Or it's getting to the point, and I think more and more people do this, where they have like Netflix on and they're on the phone, and then it's like they're multitasking. It's like they're watching a show but also on their phones at the same time.
Just glued to people's faces all the time.
Exactly. You know, I see it more with like little kids more than ever. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
It's always interesting, like, because I have that screen time feature on my phone. So at the end of the week, it tells me how many hours I've been on. Have I looked at my phone? And it's like the highest it's been. It's like 10 hours in 1 week. I'm like, oof, that's not good.
I need to walk outside.
Yeah. Well, no, I do walk outside. I just look at my phone when I walk outside.
That defeats the purpose of walking outside. It does.
But I'm outside. I'm doing my part. I'm walking.
You're walking with his phone in his hand. Man. Okay.
All right. The phone is on, let's say, but I'm like listening to music. That's not technically looking at my phone, but I'm listening to what's on my phone.
That's big true. Difference. That'd be the ADG podcast Spotify playlist available right now on Spotify.
There you go. And you can listen to the Empire Universe podcast.
Right. That's right. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom. Look at that. All right. Speaking of music.
Yeah.
Such an angry man.
I'm not an angry about your man, golf. Jake. You're rubbing off on me.
Okay, we'll wait till we get to a couple segments from now. We'll see. All right, so let's get into some of our music. So you just touched on music. Our music for today is a cool summer jam from an artist called Har'Monique from Brooklyn, and it's her first single off her up-and-coming album that'll have 15 tracks on it, and this track is called "Oh Lord." Oh Lord. Spelled OHLAWD. Oh Lord. And it's a I want to put this track out now because it's so nice outside, and we can actually drive around with our windows open. It's not too hot yet, and it's a cool summer track, and it's a good way to start off our summer with some cool music that we can just jam to and drive around to. So, oh Lord, Har'Monique, right here, A2G Podcast. So that was Oh Lord, Har'Monique, right here on the A2G Podcast. We'll get on our Spotify list as soon as possible, so you guys can enjoy that while you're like Darren walking around and listening to your music.
That's what I do.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, let us know how you guys enjoyed that track. I think it's a cool summer track. It's a little different. There you go. Darren.
Yes.
Anything exciting going on lately?
Just
do we
try to get out. You try to do what you can. Obviously with the quarantine and the lockdown and everything that's going on in the States right now, it's just it's a little bit all over the map. So but actually it was last week there was a big massive peaceful protest at the riverfront for Black Lives Matter. So and great turnout. From what I heard, it was like almost 1,000 people showed up to peacefully protest. And I think at one point they all released black balloons up for those lives that were tragically cut short over there in the U.S. So it's good to see Canada doing its part, but let's not pretend that Canada doesn't have racist problems. We do, just like every country around the world faces that issue. So hopefully
these tragic events we can take in and learn from them, and treat each other a little bit more respectfully and kindly, moving forward.
There you go. Some nice balanced words from Darren. That was lovely. I appreciate you. That was good. So
Jake, not so much. Jake,
no, that's why I'm not even gonna get into that. So we need these places to start opening up so we can actually have some different food, because I still want that Popeye sandwich, and we need to broadcast from it.
Yes.
I'm just saying, because
I was actually talking to Jen, the Star Wars nerd, the other day.
Yes.
She has some ideas of some content that she would like my help with. So one of her ideas is going to like different restaurants and trying out their takeout food and calling it, I believe, takeout tailgate. So
there we go.
So that's a nice little project for me and her to work on. So
there you go.
Look forward.
Something to look forward to, for sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. So let's get into, since there's no garbage person of the week or rant today. I decided to take it easy on everybody. I'm going to give you another edition of my unpopular opinion. And since, since the girl cookies last time didn't go over very well.
Let me guess. It's like Jake goes to Costco and just wants to kill everyone.
No. There's no killing here.
Or Jake parks at Costco and wants to kill everyone.
I can never find parking at Costco. That's the problem. But no, since the last the girl guy cookie stuff was.
Oh yeah, your girl guy. You weren't a fan of the tagline.
No, because it was dumb. I decided to take a stab at another issue that people are falling in love with, and I hate. So.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no. This is why it's unpopular opinion. That's the segment. Okay. So recently, Windsor residents this is a news story that just came out in Windsor. The Windsor is deciding to put in a bylaw on purchasing pets in the city.
Yeah, from pet stores.
That's right. Commission has the opportunity to amend the bylaws to prohibit the sale of dogs and cats at retail locations for profit.
Yeah.
So the bylaw requires any licensed pet store to have animals available from shelters or rescue groups, as opposed to being supplied by a for-profit company. Okay. This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Why? Let me explain. As I love pets. Mm-hmm. I have a dog. Mm-hmm. I bought my dog from a store. Okay. Now, do you know how much that dog costs at a store compared to a private breeder? What you're doing now is, one, you're pandering to the Humane Society, which is an amazing place for animals, but that's what you should be going to for your rescues, and which I'll be doing one day for sure.
Right.
But if I want a puppy, if I want a dog, you know how much breeders charge for puppies? They start about $2,000. What's happening now is we're feeding into online black market buying. We're feeding into overpriced pets. I'm not paying $2,000 for a lab. Okay, that's ridiculous. It's basically telling me I shouldn't have a dog because I'm not paying that much money. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot more Kijiji ads and marketplace ads and people, illegally selling dogs and cats.
Right.
Basically. So I really don't like the idea by telling a private business you are not allowed to sell something. Okay, come on. We're selling weed, drug paraphernalia, and you telling me I can't go buy a puppy at a store. Bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. You should be able to buy and sell whatever you want. And you don't need a bylaw in this city. What's going to happen if this is just a city thing? Well, people will go somewhere else. Someone else will take the business away from the city. And is this what really Windsor is focusing on? All the other issues you have, and you're focusing on fucking puppy sales? Really? There's no other bylaws you can amend to make the place better? Puppies and cats. Really? That's what we're focusing on in the city of Windsor as a topic in the community. I think we can focus our energies on something a little bit more important and leave this puppy selling to the puppy stores. And yes, there are bad apples that have shitty conditions, but you address that. Address humane facilities. But buying and selling is not of anybody's business. And again, it will lead to black market sales and just raising the prices on pets that people want and going to have to overpay now. Buy a ton. You should not have to pay thousands of dollars for a puppy. Okay? And cats, I'll just run out on the county and scoop one up. There's a billion of them running around in the fields. Fuck. But yeah, there you go. Well, that's my unpopular take.
Well, let's face it, there are tons of cats, especially in my neighborhood, that just run around
exactly
constantly. They're just street cats that just cruise at night, going from one house to another. Just but you know what? Everyone, do we want to see people buy from Humane Society and buy more rescue pets? Yes. Are there people that are gonna shell out $2,000, like you said, for a puppy? Yes. There's gonna be people that it's just like buying a brand new car. Some people can afford it.
Those are dumb people.
Some people, well, that's your unpopular opinion, Jake.
That's right.
Quote unquote. There you go. So some people would want, a brand spanking new puppy from a breeder that comes from, that is a well-known breeder that has a good track record. And there are some that are looking for more of a non-expensive pet, so you can either get a rescue from a Humane Society or go to someone that is selling a dog or a puppy, or that's a little bit less expensive, but the conditions aren't the greatest.
I'm just saying you can't limit people's options. It's like the LCBO.
But
ban
they
it, destroy that thing.
They want people
have liquor sales everywhere.
Yeah, but they want people to make better choices when it comes to that.
Yeah, how about I make my own choices? I don't need anybody to tell me what is a good choice in the back.
We're not telling you that you have to do a certain thing. That's just, they're giving people, they do what's in the best option of the pet itself.
I don't think so. I like to make my own decisions. I don't need somebody to tell me that.
I'm not saying that you're telling you to make
the city is decision. The city of Windsor with their stupid bylaws.
All right. Well, maybe it's different in Harrow or out in the county where you live. But I'm saying I know that there's tons of animal advocates out there that have been pushing for this for a long time.
And that's fine. Everybody has their agenda, and I'm okay. And with that, and we'll get to PETA, and they're stupid, and we'll get to another segment one day.
Oh Lord, yes.
That's all I got.
That's your unpopular opinion. Like it or lump it, right?
Yep, there you go.
There you go. Jake, I don't know if you've been watching any, what was the last thing you watched on Netflix? Anything good? Anything that you recommend?
I'm in the middle of the new, oh my God. The Space Force.
Oh,
I'm in the middle of Space Force. Yeah, and it's okay. It's not great, but it's not bad. And they just put up all the Fast and the Furious movies on there, so that's,
I saw that. I think I know what I'm doing this weekend.
There you go. Put up all of them. I just find 1, 2 Tokyo Drift. Skip the 7.
Absolutely, that's great. Not only all the Fast and the Furious movies up there, but all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies.
Yes,
I watched the original one. Oh my God, it was like my whole childhood was coming back to me when I was watching that, and I was the shoddy product placement of the Domino's pizza going down the sewer. I'm like,
great.
Oh God.
Right. The
Yes,
one-liners. It's just such a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just good. And those poor souls who are in those rubber costumes for like 12 hours a day. Just imagine how bad it smelled in there.
Oh yeah, no, that's awful. But
I was gonna say that, Jake, since you have kids, what is like, or have you introduced them to like one of your favorite movies as a kid when you were growing up to them, or if you were to, which movies or which movie would you say, like, kids, you got to watch this movie, is the best movie you'll ever see, or this is like, I watched this as a kid. It was like
funny enough you said that, because last year I actually showed them the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, first one and second one.
Oh yeah.
And they loved it. And I know the first one's kind of dark, okay, but it's my favorite.
Casey Jones with the cricket mallet. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yep, exactly. And then the second one's more goofy with Vanilla Ice, but it's still great. It's awesome. I love those movies. Yeah. And I showed it to them. They liked it. And we'll see. As they get older, there'll be more things I'm obviously going to show them. But no, they already seen them last year. But yeah, they enjoyed them. And as soon as I saw them on Netflix last week, I was like, yes, I watched this in HD now.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Which is different, because when you watch it on VHS or DVD, and then you watch it
and all those great coming attractions you had to sit through.
Hell yeah!
During the VHS and all the product.
Here's the movie from 1991, coming soon. Yeah, okay.
The Fox and the Hound.
Great. And there you go.
So I always enjoy, like, like, especially like my cousin's kids who they're like 9 and 10, and don't really missed out on all these great movies that they weren't alive at the time. So like introducing them to these great works of cinema, that's like the best.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly. Yep. Give them an insight to how things used to be.
Exactly. See,
for sure.
Remember when people were closer than 6 feet apart?
Oh my God.
Good old days. See? No face masks, kids.
No face. I know, right? Yeah. Look, people hugging.
People hugging.
High-fiving each other.
Look, he's coughing on him and he's not panicking.
Right.
Yeah.
The good old days. Oh, that's what it is. But no, that was a good one. That's good. Yeah, definitely. I like that they put up all these cool different movies on Netflix now.
And especially with, seems like more and more movies are going straight to the streaming platforms these days. It's just, it's like that one, the new Pete Davidson movie. It's actually comes out today. The King of Staten Island comes out today on streaming services, but not available yet in Canada. I think that comes out on June 19th from last I checked, so look out for that. If it's getting good reviews, Judd Apatow movie, so
that's cool.
So it shouldn't be dog shit, but we'll see.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's the show for this week.
Yeah.
Appreciate everyone stopping by. Check us out everywhere on all the social media at A-to-G Podcast. Streaming everywhere on every platform. A-to-G Podcast, search there. Obviously, YouTube and everywhere else. Email us with any questions. You want to yell at Darren or me about golf? Cool. A-to-G Podcast at gmail.com.
Or yell at Jake on his hatred of puppy sales. Yep.
That's right. You disagree with me on puppies? I don't care. So
we also
have, even if you email me, I'm not going to answer back. I don't care. Comment on our poll though on Twitter.
There you go.
On the golf poll. And if you're really that mad about the puppies, well, there's Facebook, and we can talk about it there. And I can just ignore you there. So I don't give a shit. And enjoy our awesome music from this week. It's pretty cool. Cool tracks from Har'Monique. So enjoy that. Check that out. And there you go, the A-to-G Podcast. coming back at you. A few more episodes till we finish off the season.
Yep.
And take a little break for the summer. So enjoy this. Listen to some older episodes, and just us talking in your ear.
We hope you enjoyed the sounds of our intellectual conversations.
And some curse words mixed in.
And some curse words.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, there you go. That's the AG pod.
Yeah.
The whole spectrum of words.
That's it.
But yeah, no, appreciate for Luke coming on and talking about his show. Shout out to him. Check him out and his podcast. And yeah, there you go. So for the ADG podcast, I am Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And we are ADG.